what is the microbiome and why do you care? My name is Ebony Coleman, nurse practitioner in functional medicine, and I love helping people heal. So the microbiome is a vast community of different microorganisms, including fungus, yeast, bacteria, archaea, and viruses. And the reason why it's so important is because all of that community really impacts you and how your genes are expressed and what disease processes are expressed, how it can really impact your outcomes in wellness or in disease. Your gut isn't just about digestion. Your gut impacts every single system, your neurotransmitters, your immune system, your hormones, your nutritional status, and etc. There are plenty of research articles that show an imbalanced gut microbiome can really impact your outcome and risk factors for things like adrenal fatigue, autoimmune risk, and diseases. And so it's really important for us to figure out what is driving your risk for illness or symptoms. Are you having abdominal pain? Are you having migraines? Are you having changes in your mood? Are you having brain fog? All of those things are impacted by your microbiome. So that's what we're going to go over today. What the microbiome is, how it's impacting you, and what can we do about it. So in functional medicine, we know that your gut links to every system. So there's a gut-brain axis, there's a gut-skin axis, gut and hormones that are impacted and connected, and even your immune status. And so what I want you to remember is that your body is impacted by your gut every single day. And because of that, we can make changes every single day to help us feel better or worse. So depending on your daily choices is really how your outcomes will be. One, that gives us a lot of power because we can make daily choices that can change how we feel, how we act, how we think. But also it can mean that if you continually make bad choices or choices that don't bring healing and wellness, then you can really impact the way you feel on a daily basis. And so we can look at it in a positive way and recognize how much power we have, or we can choose to be afraid of it. So I say, let's look at it in a positive way. Let's see how we can make impact in our body and in our outcomes. And not only us, but our families, our children, our grandchildren, and our family and friends around us can really learn from the things that we're doing. And as we continue to make changes on a daily basis, then we can make lasting change as a family unit, as a community. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that impact your gut microbiome in a positive or negative way. So one is your nutrition, right? What are you eating? Are you adding components to your nutrition that's going to help your microbiome flourish? Things like polyphenol foods, things like adequate protein intake, and from clean sources like grass-fed meat and wild-caught fish. Those are some great resources that we can utilize clean protein with. But if you have concerns like leaky gut, you're not going to be able to optimize that intake. And we want to make sure you're optimizing your intake by healing your leaky gut, so you're not wasting a lot of money on those more expensive foods. I will say those more expensive foods are worth it, right? Because when you're able to absorb that food and absorb that nutrition, you're really going to see an impact on your muscle tone and your adipose tissue or your fat, especially around your belly, and even your brain function. However, if you can't absorb those foods, then you may not be able to see all of the benefits. As I was saying, there's things that disrupt the microbiome. So stressors that can be literally from anything. It could be from childhood traumas. It could be from over-the-counter medications, even things like Tylenol, Motrin. It can be from prescription medications. It can be from like mental stressors or childhood abuse or things that are just causing any sort of stress, anything that puts you in a state of fight or flight. So toxic intake or mold exposure, things from your environment. And then a poor diet. If you're not properly driving your body with nutrition, your body's going to see that. So excess sugars that lead to inflammation and insulin resistance, all of those impact your gut microbiome and your blood, right? So if we are congesting our blood with sugary foods that just makes the cells like stick together, how does that impact us? How does that help us oxygenate our tissues, our hands and our feet in our brain properly? It really doesn't. And so we have to think about these things as we're putting foods to our mouth. And I'm not saying never eat sugar or never eat anything that is not healthy, right? Because we want to live a balanced life. But how educated are you when you're adding those foods? Are you being intentional? Are you being mindful of like, okay, if I eat this piece of cake, how is this going to impact my blood sugar? How is this going to impact my gut microbiome? And do you care? And that's my goal for this video. I want you to understand how foods are impacting your gut microbiome, so that way you can care how the foods impact you and make a choice from a state of empowerment. Other things that impact the gut microbiome is your antibiotic use. A lot of times, as a healthcare provider, kids that come to the office that are sick, and we see it all the time, chronic ear infections, strep throat, ongoing issues. And I'm not saying antibiotics aren't good, because they are. So if we are constantly using leftover antibiotics or antibiotics for viruses and things that aren't going to be impacted or benefited by an antibiotic, our gut microbiome is killed over and over again. And if we aren't intentional to re-implement good bacteria, eating probiotic foods, and using a quality probiotic to re-establish that gut microbiome in a positive way, then we're going to see the impact of it, right? We're going to start seeing your immune system being lowered. You're going to start being sick more often, maybe even not absorbing nutrients well, because your microbiome is off. And that can be a process called dysbiosis, where if you don't have enough good bacteria, you give the opportunity for unbeneficial or non-beneficial bacteria to overgrow. And so that is something we want to prevent. So one tip I can share with you is that whenever you're on an antibiotic, I always say be sure to utilize a quality probiotic with it. If nothing else, eat probiotic foods, kimchi, miso soup, Greek yogurt, anything fermented to really help to repopulate your gut. Another thing that can impact your gut microbiome in a negative way is a lack of sleep. Guys, we have to be getting 7 hours of sleep a night. Yes, I said 7 hours. So if you're not getting that, let's look at reasons why, because we want to be able to get that sleep to get enough repair, regeneration to benefit us in the long run, especially if you're working out. And even if you're not, getting on that consistent circadian rhythm can really help be a healing process in your body. One thing that I think gets overlooked is the environmental toxins that we're exposed to every day. Things like air quality, mold exposures, whether you live or work in an old building can really impact you. And what I also want to highlight is that everyone responds to toxins differently, right? So what one person may be allergic or have a huge impact to mold, another person may not. Or fragrances, replace it with any toxin that you'd like, whether that's makeup products, mold exposure, lotions, food toxins. Some people can tolerate certain ones better than others. However, if we are looking to heal, if we're looking to reduce our toxic load, we can look at all the processes together to really help to see, hey, where do I need to hone down in? Where do I need to be more specific and choose things that are quality over quantity or more beneficial for my body? And that just takes some research and introspection to really understand what that is. If you're more sensitive to smells than another person, and know that one size does not fit all. So I want to share a quick story with you guys. I actually got permission to share this story, and it's so amazing. So I had a 3-year-old little baby boy who was so cute. He unfortunately had epilepsy, and he was getting 40 to 50 seizures a month. It was really impacting the outcome of his family, their sleep, their fear. They all were impacted and had a state of fight or flight because they always had to make sure he was okay and that he was breathing and all the things. He was actually on multiple prescriptions, gabapentin, Keppra, all the things by his neurologist. And working with Wellness Redefined, we were able to reduce his toxic load with nutrition. We were able to reduce his stress with supplements. And through that process, over the 6-month period that we worked with him, in the last 3 months, I think he only had like 1 seizure when he was ill, right? And so it's so amazing what nutrition can do. So amazing how we can impact things with little changes. And of course, he's 3 years old, so there is only little we can do with his nutrition. But imagine the impact if we are working with a teenager or an adult that can understand the importance of getting proper protein intake, making sure we're reducing our toxic intake with foods that may be triggering us. And so I just always love to share that story because it impacted mom and family so much. They were able to get quality sleep again. She was able to just enjoy her son versus just living in fear all the time. And so that is the power of functional medicine. And I just can shout it from the rooftop in understanding how the body works together. And it's really a matter of taking a step back to see, okay, where are my driving concerns as far as stressors? How can I heal from that? And what do I need to add to be in a healing mode versus a disease process? There are 3 things we can do to work on your gut microbiome today. So the first one is upgrade your nutrition. Increase fiber-rich foods. That's going to help to support your gut microbiome, the good bacteria in there to feed them. We want to reduce foods that are causing issues, inflammation, processed foods, anything from a bag, box, or window. That's any processed food, and a window meaning fast food. If we can reduce that as much as possible, think about your plate, get as much color, get as much fiber as you can. And a side note is if you eat salad with your meal, you're not going to spike your blood sugar as high as you would without it. So that's always a cool trick to understand. With that upgraded nutrition, you want to add prebiotic and probiotic foods. Of course, with those things, try to reduce as much sugar as you can. Sugar is literally a drug, and it causes so much inflammation, more than we think. Another thing we can do is improve our sleep and manage our stress well. So again, getting 7 to 9 hours even of sleep a night can really help to improve your microbiome status and put you in a state of rest and repair. And when you're in that healing state, we were made so amazingly that we automatically go into a healing state, right? That rest and digest mode, that parasympathetic mode in that autonomic nervous system. It's automatic. We don't even have to think about it. If we set ourselves up to eat 3 hours before bed, then when we're going to sleep, we can automatically get into that parasympathetic mode quicker. And so getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night for everybody is so important, and I encourage you to do that. And the last thing we want to do is to remove toxins and think of quality. So you want to get quality water, quality foods to reduce your immune system's response and having to detect foreign bodies within your body. Drinking filtered water to help avoid environmental toxins can be helpful. You can always consider more testing to see what's going on with your specific body. So like a stool study can help to determine, hey, what's going on with my gut? Do I have parasites? Do I have H. pylori presence? Do I have enough good bacteria, or do I have an overgrowth of bad bacteria? Do I have enough digestive enzymes and bile acids to break down fats and pancreatic enzymes to break down my foods? And so getting a stool study done can really be a huge impact in your overall health status. And all your gut microbiome is huge in the outcome of your healing. It's huge in the outcome of your wellness and your mental status. We can work together to really help make changes just by little things that we choose every single day. So let's choose foods that are going to support our gut microbiome and not hinder it. Let's choose actions that are going to help us have better outcomes, things like sleep, things like reducing toxic loads. If you have been dealing with things like chronic stress, fatigue, illness, bloating, migraines, headaches, all those things that can be linked to your gut, which is literally everything, then functional medicine may be for you. As always, you can always reach out to me as a resource, and I may be able to support you, and if not, I can send you to someone that may be appropriate for where you live. I'm so excited that you joined in today. Please, please, please share this with someone that you love that's dealing with gut issues, autoimmune issues, any disease process that is at their wit's end and may want some answers. Functional medicine is really eye-opening, and it helps us to see the whole patient all at once. I hope this video gave you some valuable insight. If you have a medical concern that has not been answered, please comment below. Me and my team will continue to watch the comments to see how we can better support you guys. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I hope that you learned something new. We will continue to post videos on Fridays every week, and so make sure you guys are watching and posting and sharing the content so we can reach others just like you. Remember, you got this. See you in the next video.